Only 5 teams left in our national tournament here in Denver, Colorado, as you get a look at Empower Field, the home of the Denver Broncos, which is just on the other side of the highway from MSU Denver. This is our 4th consecutive elimination game. Cal State Dominguez Hills, the West Region champs. The Toros are up against the Griffins from Seton Hill. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Leah Secondo. Boy, could we only hope and pray that this game would have the same sort of energy and enthusiasm and, frankly, the same level of drama that we had in our first elimination game of the day. It was back and forth all game long. Both of these two teams, Leah, I think probably present a similar look. They've both shown that they can win in tight situations, but vulnerable, and that's the reason why they're in this elimination game.
100%. I think both teams were not completely pleased with their first round efforts here. They looked totally different on day 2, and they're here today for Cal State Dominguez Hills. They are really shaking up their lineup today offensively, so we'll see how that bodes for them. And you shake up the bats, you shake up the lineup, you see how things fall. They are the home team this afternoon in this game, led by Ashley Weiss, who's the arm that they're going to go with, that 2.29 ERA, 28-8 on the year. And we are underway here in game number 2, elimination game number 2 of the afternoon.
It's the 10th game of the tournament. We will play a minimum of 14, a maximum of 17 games this week to decide our national champion. Nicole McClendon leads off for Seton Hill. The first pitch is outside from Ashley Weiss at 2:36 p.m. local time. Nicole McClendon on the year, senior, hitting .304. Good contact hitter for the Griffins. That one just missed down low. The Griffins last night in the final game of the day yesterday beat up on Adelphi 8-1. They scored 3 runs in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, and 2 in the 6th. to win their first elimination game. Jenna Osakowicz had a good day. Morgan Ryan had a good day. A couple RBIs for each of them. Morgan Toll had an RBI single in a critical moment as well. The Griffins were incredibly aggressive on the base paths late, and I think that really flustered Adelphi, especially in that 5th and 6th inning, and they ended up taking control of the game in that 8-1 win. But Seton Hill needed to win that game because they lost their first game of this tournament 4-0 to the Warhawks from Auburn Montgomery, who were just stunned in our first elimination game of the day. So Auburn Montgomery has been knocked out. Seton Hill lost 4-0. Thought Morgan Ryan pitched okay in that game. She gave up 3 runs in the second and an RBI double in the 3rd inning of that 4-0 loss, but she and Lauren Dillette handled their jobs all right. So Seton Hill comes into the game 42-11 on the year. After losing the first game, they won the second. Cal State Dominguez Hills on the flip side, boy, did they start this tournament with an impressive victory. They knocked off top-seeded and number 1 ranked overall Texas Tyler. They beat them 5-1. Cal State Dominguez Hills, the 8th seed here in this week's tournament, as McClendon takes a walk to start the game. And brings up Jenna Osakowicz. 5-1, they beat the Patriots. Maya Lopez had a 2-run homer. Raquel Jaime had a 2-run double. And Kiana Abalera an RBI double in that 5-1 victory. So they moved into the winner's bracket for yesterday, but did not have the day they were hoping for against Rogers State. They got smoked, 10-2, giving up 7 runs in the 6th and 7th innings combined against the Hillcats, who are proving to be an awfully good offensive team. Cal State Dominguez Hills did have 12 hits. It's not like they couldn't generate anything. They just couldn't string them together. And so Dominguez Hills is now in its first elimination game of this tournament. Osakowicz is an All-American outfielder. She's the real deal. And yesterday was the spark plug, the catalyst for the Griffins that helped them get into this 3rd day of the tournament. Weiss hits the outside corner. It's a called strike. The outfield, Claudia Valencia, Janessa Hebreo, and Alex Davis left to right. Amara Labanog, Raquel Jaime, Shanoa Au, and Kaylee Hull around the diamond 3rd to 1st. Maya Lopez is catching Ashley Weiss. Down the right field line, this is trouble. Off the tip of Davis's glove and into the corner. It's a stand-up double. McClendon holds it third. She had to wait and see if that ball was going to be caught. Good defense by the Toros to get it in quickly, but 2 runners in scoring position, Leah, with nobody out here in the first.
You talked about the speed that Seton Hill has on the bases, and this pitch ripped going to right field, outside pitch. And Asakowitz had to kind of look at what was going on with McClendon in front of her, because she nearly caught up with her around turning around first base. So runners at second and third here, scoring position in the first inning.
Infield in for Morgan Ryan. Ryan hasn't yet taken the circle, and she can already try to help her own cause. The Seton Hill team doesn't necessarily have one big thumper in the lineup. They just find ways to score runs. They're obviously on one heck of a postseason, making their first ever trip into this NCAA tournament, as are the Toros. But they are not afraid of this stage. And they got a chance to try and strike first here. Ball and a strike.
And Ryan has a ton of room in the outfield. These base runners better be taking a look at where the outfielders are right now, because they can get a pretty good jump on anything hit into the outfield.
Trina Comerford, the home plate umpire for this game. Eddie Hall has first base, and Bill Gattuso umpiring down at third. Only 2 games on the docket today after 4 apiece the last 2 days. Outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Texas Tyler in our first game of the day. They won their second elimination game of this tournament. Seton Hill trying to do the same thing after winning last night. Ryan down on strikes.
Weiss going to that outside corner up high. They actually may have been out of the strike zone, but unfortunate for Ryan, having to protect the plate, going after it. And a big break for Weiss in the circle.
That one pegged the black. 0-1 to Morgan Toll. 354. She's probably their most consistent offensive option. Batting in the cleanup spot. She's played most, but not all of the games. That one's fouled back. This is her 51st game of the season.
Excuse me.
7 homers, 36 RBIs. Both of those tops on the team. 13 doubles. That leads the group.
If I'm Weiss working with Lopez right now, Toll is way off the plate. I'm just going to continue to keep going at her on that outside corner.
Toros have played 11 more games than Seton Hill has played this year.
Guess making up for not playing last season,
Yeah,
right?
no kidding. This is game number 65 for the Toros. Yanked down the line, fouling out of play. Only game number 54 for Seton Hill. Both teams have 42 wins, so I guess I'm going to look at it that way. Seton Hill's win percentage is a lot better. But I think the Toros would argue that their competition out west is pretty darn good. Good at bat here going for Toll, with McClendon at third, Asakowitz at second, and 1 out. Winner of this game will play the North Georgia Nighthawks at 1:30 local time here in Denver tomorrow afternoon. That team will have to beat North Georgia twice tomorrow if they want to play in the best-of-3 National Championship Series. As Toll fouls off another one. Rogers State, the Hillcats out of Claremont, Oklahoma, Greater Tulsa. They're also 2-0, and they're going to play Texas Tyler, who's in the same boat. The Patriots have to beat the Hillcats twice if they want to play in that best-of-3 National Title Series starting Monday. High pop-up on the infield. The second baseman, squeezes it. 2 outs. No infield fly roll there with first base unoccupied. Brooklyn Fukushima, freshman second baseman, stepping in a big opportunity. What does she have in store here?
Well, you know, for Fukushima, I think she's been having a great tournament at the plate, but I think she's been having an even better championship series in the field. She has made some really nice stabs out at second base to save balls going into the outfield, and with that flashy glove, a second teamer.
Fukushima was 1 for 3 on Thursday and 1 for 3 yesterday. A couple of singles so far this week. She comes up with a single here. It's going to score 1 and maybe 2.
Oop. Wants that one back.
Yeah, a little indecisive there. Excellent pitch. Right where she wanted it on the outside half. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. How about Ashley Weiss? A walk and a double to open the inning, but she gets 2 strikeouts and induces a pop-out that barely got behind the circle in order to get out of that first inning without giving up a run. Outstanding effort. So it's scoreless at the outset of this game. Let's take a look at the bracket real quick. I know I mentioned a couple things to you there, but just give you an idea of how things have looked so far this week. First, the top half of the bracket, where we saw that, I guess we'll start in the bottom half here, since this game is in front of us. Seton Hill and Cal State Dominguez Hills. You can see the result from last night, 8-1. Seton Hill beat Adelphi to set up this game, and the winner plays North Georgia. They'll have to beat them twice in order to get to that best of 3. On the other side, you'll see Cal State Dominguez Hills, after having beaten Texas Tyler, they lost to Rogers State, so that's why they're on the bottom half of the bracket now to avoid rematches. They flip after you lose your first game if you're in the winner's bracket. So we know Texas Tyler plays Rogers State. Same story. The Hillcats only need to win once tomorrow. Morgan Ryan is going out to the circle, Leah, and I think Seton Hill told us before the game, quote, "We are riding Morgan Ryan till her arm falls off."
Morgan Ryan, what a great pickup for the Griffins coming over from Notre Dame, and really been the arm to ride, and having that veteran leadership in the circle. 2.80 ERA for this championship series, a little bit above her 1.22 ERA on the season. But I thought she settled in nicely for Seton Hill to be moving on 8-1 after that victory against Adelphi last evening.
Amara Labadog is actually up in the leadoff spot in the order. We'll tell you more about her in a second, but I want to go back to the pitching matchup for a moment. You know, Morgan is here, and we saw Ashley Weiss pitching. Ashley has come on in relief of Alyssa Olagi the first couple days of this tournament. Sharp ground ball hit to Nina Grandy, who throws across in time. Do you give Morgan Ryan an advantage over Ashley Weiss here? Because it feels like maybe the Toros don't quite have the same depth, with Olagi not really on top of her game right now?
No, I really don't, because just from the swag and the attitude that we've learned this week from the Toros, I really don't. They have like glass blinders on them right now. They don't care who is in front of them. They've got a pretty good swag coming out of Cali, and I think that they're going to ride that as long as they can, and that's okay. It's okay to be confident in what you're doing. You're one of the final 8.
Well, Weiss has had a heck of a run these first couple of games, so I know they like what they've got in her. Kiana Abalera, the hitter. She's down in the count, 0-2. We'll set the defense for you after this batter. That's fouled at home plate. Abalera, the senior designated player today, batting .350 on the season. Leads the club with 19 doubles. They would love an extra base hit from her here, wouldn't they? Get him going in the bottom of the first. On the ground again toward Grandy. And the shortstop makes a second consecutive good throw. Abalera retired, and it brings up the shortstop, Raquel Jaime. McClendon, Bonach, and Osakowicz in the outfield left to right. You see Grandy there in your frame. Paredes playing at third alongside Grandy. Fukushima at second, Morgan Toll at first. Mackenzie Zhang is catching Morgan Ryan. Get the impression that the Toros are going to lean pretty heavily on this young lady today, Raquel Jaime.
And Jaime sliding from the leadoff spot in the order down a little bit in the order here at the 3-hole.
Just missed outside. Raquel, the everyday shortstop. And I thought she played a really good game on Thursday in that 5-1 win over Texas Tyler. This ball's hit in the air to right field, carrying pretty well, and it one-hops the fence. Osakowicz tries to get it in quickly, but Jaime has a sliding double. It's extra base hit. Number 14 for her 11th double of the season.
Great shot of it right here. This is the best view of it as it just continues to slice away. No chance for Osakowicz to gather it in the air. She had a long way to go. Try to make that grab with 2 outs. But a lot of respect in the outfield by the Griffins right now with the number 4 batter in Valencia in the box.
Valencia had a couple of base hits yesterday and scored one of the 2 runs for Dominguez Hills. She also had a double on Thursday. Been one of the tougher outs in this lineup. Takes inside. 2-0 the count, and we are going to have a mound visit, it looks like. So, Seton Hill will talk about this situation. Haven't seen anything from Morgan Ryan that would lead you to believe she's coming undone somehow, but this obviously is critical, right? You hear coaches so often say it's not about necessarily who scores first, it's about who scores next. Are you giving up further momentum, or did you answer right back? And while Seton Hill left a couple runners in scoring position in the first inning, they would prefer not to play from behind.
Well, more so when you have a runner out at second base, you want to make sure that the battery's working together to understand what they're calling. So I don't want to say pitches be stolen, but, to help out what's going on out there and being behind in the count 2-0, just kind of make sure that Morgan Ryan is keeping that ball where they want it to based on the scout, being very cautious and respectful of Valencia and what she could do at the plate.
Ryan's 3-0 is in there, a called strike. Morgan picked up her 19th win of the season yesterday. She's 19-3 over her first 24 appearances. This is her 21st start of the season now in her 25th game. Struck out 5 yesterday, gave up just 1 run. Got her swinging there on a pretty good one. 3-2. Chopped foul. Good little battle here going with Valencia. Leads the team with 42 ribbies. It's one of the outfield here. She might drive in the game's first run. Fighting to stay alive. By the way, we've referenced a few times throughout the course of the week that this is the third consecutive Division II National Championship that's been held at this facility here in Denver. And we are on the move next year to Chattanooga, Tennessee. That one's outside, ball 4. Boy, Seton Hill kind of thought they had caught her looking. Instead, Valencia walks, and now there's 2 on with 2 outs for Maya Lopez. I'd like to say thanks throughout the course of the week because folks here at MSU Denver have been just awesome. And they've done a great job hosting now more than once. They've set the bar pretty high for the folks in Chattanooga. But looking forward to being back further east next year. Bouncing ball through the middle, base hit. It's bobbled in center field. That will allow Valencia to go from second to third. Jaime scored easily. And the Toros are on the board thanks to Maya Lopez, who had a big home run in the first game of the tournament. And she delivers with an RBI hit in the first inning in this elimination game.
Aggressive base running here and heads up base running by Jaime. Recognizing where that ball was, Valencia between first and second. Watch how she keeps an eye on what's going on, where that ball is coming. And doing a good job moving along to third base. So first and third situation here with 2 outs. I would imagine that Seton Hill's just going to get it back to the circle or cut it off in between and not worry about the runner and Lopez trying to get down to second base.
Maya Lopez does get an RBI there, but Valencia goes from second to third on an error by the center fielder Alexis Bonach. Don't want to belabor the point too often, but we'd be ignoring it entirely if we didn't bring it up here, considering that error could be costly. We have seen a lot of mistakes defensively and some bad base running decisions become really costly moments for teams that have eventually gone on to lose games. Good news is nobody's been perfect this week, so if you make a mistake, put it behind you and expect that somewhere along the way you're going to have a chance to make up for it or capitalize on the other team's mistake. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Ashley Weiss, the batter. Here's Mike Davenport, the head coach for the North Georgia Nighthawks. He is standing watching this game rather intently, although for a second there walked away from his notepad.
Team just finishing up their practice on this day off in the backfield. Both they and Rogers State enjoying being in the positions that they are with the day off, waiting who they will play.
Nighthawks are the only team that was here last year and made it back through the Super Regionals to get here again in 2022. Good pitch there on the inside corner. I wonder how much their experience, I don't necessarily want to call it veteran presence because they still have a relatively young team. Senior class is good, but they've got some good underclassmen that really contribute. But nothing new to them here. Little flare job to second base. Fukushima grabs it. Ashley Weiss unable to capitalize with the bases loaded. Pretty good job there by Morgan Ryan. A lot of damage going on there with 2 outs. She only gave up 1. It's 1-0 going to the second. Well, it's 1-0 as we start the top of the second inning, and frankly, if you're a Griffins fan, probably took a big deep breath there during our half-inning break because it wasn't looking so good. The Griffins left 2 runners in scoring position without scoring in the top of the first. That's frustrating. And then they gave up one in the bottom of the first inning, but got out of it, only giving up a run, and the bases stayed loaded. First pitch swinging by Brooke Cleveland. She pops out to Jaime, 1 out. Minimizing the damage. Sometimes that's the name of the game. Grace Paredes. Freshman third baseman having a terrific offensive season. Well, she played pretty well defensively yesterday, but love her bat.
Yeah, I thought Paredes over at third base certainly, again, excuse me, has been another player defensively throughout this tournament that has just been really steady and now will steadily walk down to first base.
So Grace hit by the pitch, and the Griffins have a runner on base. Here comes Nina Grandy, who's been busy defensively already. Grandy hitting just a $194. See if she can move a runner along here. Nina yesterday had a single with a run scored, reached on a fielder's choice, and walked and scored. Pretty productive at the plate. She blasts this one down the right side. It had good carry to it, but Alex Davis ran it down. Alex Davis is in right field for Cal State Dominguez Hills, and Alexis Bonach is in center field for the Griffins.
Pretty good speed going to cover that line. There was a lot of area for her to cover. Got there quickly.
Just outside. Ball 1 to Mackenzie Zhang. 9-hole hitter for the Griffins. 1 on, 2 out, 1-0 Dominguez Hills. Back into the screen. Seton Hill out of the really deep Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. That one missed the zone. I don't know if there's a single sport that immediately comes to mind where the PSAC isn't legit. I mean, every single sport, they've at least got one team that you look at and think, wow, that team could seriously win the national championship.
Absolutely, 100%.
No, you want to play college sports, you want to play against the best.
Some of the best current coaches in our country started their days playing in the PSAC.
Lazy fly to left. Valencia squeezes it. Zhang is the third out. And that hit by pitch doesn't do any damage. Seton Hill's put 9 batters to the plate. Only 1 base hit so far, and they have not scored against Ashley Weiss. Middle of 2. It's 1-0 Toros. Downtown Denver. Frankly, it's one of the more fun cities, I think, in the United States. There's a lot of good stuff going on here in Denver. A lot of conventions that come through here. It's a fun, walkable city. A lot of life, a lot of energy, and friendly people. They've been gracious hosts again this year. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Alex Davis, Kaylee Hull, and then back to the top of the order, and Amara Labanog. That one's fouled straight down. You know, if you want to come to Denver and you want to eat your typical chain restaurants, they got that. That's fine. They got some pretty good local food here.
Yeah, and it's plentiful everywhere as far as very unique local restaurants for sure.
2 balls and a strike. Always try to enjoy a little local flavor when you get on the road. I'm sure these teams have tried to do some things that are unique to the area. I know everybody's gone out into the town. They've done a little shopping, a little sightseeing.
Oh.
Nice one-hop stab by Fukushima. Well done. 1 out. Alex Davis hit it right on the button.
Absolutely no time at all for Fukushima to get over it, so ole! And making the play at first base.
Now Kaylee Hull, 9-hole hitter. A lot of youngsters on this Dominguez Hills team.
Not a big squad, but
you're right.
Coach Mayer uses his whole squad, that's for sure.
I think there's something to that, especially considering how hard it is nowadays as a head coach. I mean, my gosh, I couldn't do it. Managing a roster. That one, seeing eye single through the left side. Base hit. Hull is aboard with 1 out in the bottom of the second.
Good job on a chopper to go through. That's the angle of it. You can see it really well there. Finding that spot between the 5-6 hole.
I just think right now about all the name, image, and likeness stuff, the transfer portal. That one's tipped foul at home plate. You got eligibility that's all over the board because of extra years granted because of COVID. Roster management as a head coach right now has to be incredibly challenging. And on top of that, you know, you recruit players because you think that they can help you build their program, and sometimes the message is, hey, you know, you might have to wait your turn. And sometimes, you know, players think, hey, maybe that's what's just told to me everywhere, but maybe I can come in and play. It's hard to keep everybody happy. And when you can find a way to use your whole roster, it helps.
Yeah, and it is hard to keep everybody happy. And with the portal now, I'll wait on that thought.
It's hit perfectly. Nothing to do. Zhang just gives it back to Mackenzie Ryan. Excuse me, Morgan Ryan from Mackenzie Zhang. So Labanog with a little swinging bunt, 2 on 1 out.
Just chopped down right into the turf. And a heck of a lot of spin on it. No play to be made at all. So now runners at first and second here. After threatening in the first inning and getting 1 run out of it. The Toros looking to do the same here in the second.
Big congratulations to the coaching staff at Cal State Dominguez Hills. They were voted as the West Region Coaching Staff of the Year by the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association. It's a big deal. I know that this program and many others in their conference, the CCAA, they've been through a lot after not playing last year when so many others did. In the meantime, got a pinch runner, Angelina Alderetti at second. And caught the inside corner. So Alderetti is running for Kaylee Hull here as Toros try to score for the second inning in a row.
Ouch, right in the box.
Oof.
Caught that instep. Just want to take a big old deep breath. Watch, boom, right down on top of it.
All right, so Kiana Abalera takes that deep breath. Let's see what she's got here. Almost did it again.
Morgan Ryan's went back in on the same spot, jamming her on the hands.
Good stop by Zhang. Just one more note on the Toros and their coaching staff winning that recognition. You know, they only went 23-13 in conference, finished in 4th. But 5 of the teams in the league qualified for regionals, just to tell you how deep the conference was. That one scoots away from Zhang and allows both runners to move up. Now Abalera has 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. And the Toros were the 6th seed in the regionals. So don't think that being the 8th seed here in Denver caused them any concern whatsoever, especially considering they beat the number 1 team right out of the chute. Full count. Payoff pitch. Grounded foul. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Great drop ball. Ryan got a big strikeout.
Set up on that outside corner. And the drop curve working nicely this afternoon for Morgan Ryan. Halfway home on a sigh of relief there for 55.
One ball, no strikes to Raquel Jaime, who hits a very high fly ball out to right center, where Alexis Bonach puts it away. And the Toros' threat falls by the wayside. They got 2 runners into scoring position, and they've now stranded 5 through 2 innings, including 4 in scoring position. But they lead 1-0 as we head to the 3rd on NCAA.com. Cruising along to the top of the 3rd inning. Cal State Dominguez Hills in an elimination game. Leads 1-0 over Seton Hill. The Griffins only down 1. It could be far worse. Morgan Ryan is keeping them very much a part of this thing. Time for the Griffin offense to go back to work. Top of the order, McClendon, Osikowicz, and Ryan herself. And by this point in the game, everybody's got all those pregame jitters, nerves are out. You got to focus. Everybody's had an at-bat.
I think, the way that the last game ended, nice job to cut one on the corner there by Weiss. I think the way the last game ended and the fact that these 2 teams were already here and settled, they were more pumped than nervous when they took the field because
that's a great point.
Both of them were here for a while. I noticed Seton Hill right off the bat from the first pitch of the game, and the game was moving along. So okay, now you're focused that the game's moving along, and then the excitement, the drama back and forth, that just makes you want to get out in the field and get going yourself. And I don't know that there were too many jittery points, I think, for them early on here right now. I think maybe when we get toward the 5th or 6th, it stays 1-0.
Sure.
Then the pressure comes back on again. But these guys look pretty laid back and pretty cool right now.
I'll tell you what, for our audience here who may not have caught the first game of the day, between innings, we'll run a little recap for you, get you caught up on all of the drama that unfolded in a very memorable and certainly pretty fun first game of the day.
Mm-hmm.
If you take heart medication, it probably wasn't a good day for you. Especially if you're a Warhawk. It's a tough ending. So we'll tell you how it all unfolded in a little bit. But in the meantime, all the attention right here on this young lady. Nicole McClendon walked her first time up. Stranded at third back in the first inning. Both Weiss and Ryan, I think they're both very good pitchers, but neither one of them have proven all week long that they can overpower you as a hitter. And we've seen a lot of that. Just little light, foul balls that are kind of floated here and there, just fighting pitches off. Low in the zone, but
so with that in mind, as a batter, as I continue to foul pitches off, what am I going to do to make that adjustment, to make that contact? Am I going to come off the plate a little bit? Am I going to separate my arms if I'm that kind of a hitter a little bit more?
Hard grounder through the middle for a base hit. Great at bat for Nicole McClendon. The Griffin dugout loves it. Leadoff runner aboard in the third.
See, and now you got some wheels there, too, at first base as ball laid out in the middle of the plate. Speed now at first base here with no outs.
Jenna Osakowicz doubled to the right field corner in her first at bat. It was a great effort by Alex Davis. The ball just barely deflected off the top of her glove and couldn't snow cone it.
And Morgan Ryan, I see Weiss making sure that she is keeping that ball to that outside part of the plate. If you're wondering why the defense is shading a little bit more toward right field on the righty batter. But at the same token, it's up to Weiss not to make a mistake there and put anything on the inner part of the plate, because in respect, Osakowicz will be able to have plenty of room on that left field side.
Back-to-back base runners reach McClendon singles, and now a walk to Osakowicz. First and second, nobody out for Morgan Ryan. Last time it was second and third, nobody out. We get a little conference here. I suppose they're loose enough. Mm-hmm. Having fun. This is a big moment coming up in the game. Ryan struck out last time up. Wonder what Ashley Weiss is feeling coming into the day today. I'm sure she's not thinking about this in the moment, but you can't help but ignore the fact that she's come in relief quickly both games in the tournament, because Olagi hasn't really been sharp, and that just kind of takes a safety net away from her, right? I mean, she might feel like she's got to be a little bit more perfect.
Right.
And if you're a Loggy, I'm sure you're dying for a chance to go back out there and get after it again, because you don't want your showing in Denver to basically just be those first 2 starts that didn't go particularly well. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not sitting here knocking Lala. She's a really good pitcher, and she's had a fabulous season. But, sometimes it just doesn't go your way, and she's had a couple of rough outings. The reality is her team is still in the tournament. That's something to be proud of. There are 3 teams home already.
Yeah, this weekend can humble you, too. I mean, you got 8 really good teams representing their region, and you think your team is really good, and you are. And then you get here and you're going, wow, everybody's as good as us, even better. This is really crazy.
Might be room. Hit it into a spot where nobody could get to it.
Yeah, and all right, so we had a play like this yesterday, and again, I think that where we are and that ball in the corner there, you've got to think about where you are on the field. If you make the catch, am I in a position where that runner's going to try to move on from second base? Those are all things that as those runners are converging, or do you just let it go? And it works with Ryan striking out here. Don't have to worry about it now.
No, Weiss has gotten out of a couple of really tough situations.
Second time that Ryan has K'd. And basically the same pitch that she saw last time she was up high, belt level on the outside corner.
Now Morgan Toll. Seton Hill in their 4-0 loss on Thursday left 8 runners on base, and all of them in scoring position. And it took them a couple innings to get on the board yesterday. And right now they are begging for a clutch hit. Another good one. One-two is ripped towards short and through. Past Jaime, base hit. They're going to try to send her. The throw is right on the money. Valencia with a dart to home plate. Asakowicz, good base running. She goes first to third, but McClendon is gunned down by a mile on a gorgeous outfield assist.
Yeah, you're getting good momentum on this throw from the outfield, and honestly, with only 1 out, in the shallowness of this play, I don't think it's deep enough at all. You bring that run around, you take a wide turn, and you hold it up at third base. And unfortunately now, runners at the corners and no profit out of it here.
Does that give you maybe a peek inside the window of the minds of Seton Hill right now? And because they haven't had a ton of those clutch hits, this week, they've obviously had some on their way to the tournament, but trying to force it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess force it a little bit, but you've got to understand where your outfielders are, and to me, that ball was far too shallow to be testing the arm of the outfielder on that play, especially when you're trying to get that run to get back into this game.
Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Diving effort, Au traps it. Throws to first, it's not dug out. Seton Hill scores after all. Shanoa Au did a great job of staying with the play, but for whatever reason, Kaylee Hull couldn't handle it at first. Brooklyn Fukushima is safe. There are still runners on the corners as Toll went all the way first to third. One ball game. A chance to take the lead. Brooke Cleland. Couple outs, couple still out there. They are calling that a single and an RBI for Fukushima. One hop smash back to Weiss, and that'll end the inning. Cleveland retired, but not before the Griffins can tie the game up. Finally, they came up with a way to bring home a run, even though they didn't hit the ball out of the infield. Take it any way that you can get it, and we're tied at 1 in the middle of the third. Well, we promised you a look at what happened in our first game of the day, so we have a break in the action. We'll go back through the first elimination game of the day. It was a great game between Texas Tyler and Auburn Montgomery.
Well, and Tatum Goff, that initial shot that you saw, she was the key piece with an RBI double early. She was moving along in the circle and throwing a no-hitter through 4 1/3 innings, and then Cobb there, Molly Cobb, with a big blast with 2 outs. And all of a sudden, things were looking pretty good for the Warhawks. But Texas Tyler was not done yet, my friend, and a couple errors they took advantage of. Arias, who had come in as a pinch hitter, was solid, I thought, really solid on the base pads for UT Tyler, and they move on now to take on Rogers State on Monday at 11 a.m. local time. And what an exciting, that was definitely the most exciting game that we've had thus far here at the championships.
Yeah, Texas Tyler was up 2-0 after 6 innings. We'll look at the bracket again real quick. The winner of this game will play North Georgia. Texas Tyler needs to beat Rogers State twice in order for them to move to the best of 3 series.
So we could play as minimal as 2 or as max as 4 tomorrow on Memorial Day.
Tomorrow's Sunday.
Tomorrow is Sunday. You're right. My goodness.
Only playing one on Monday.
We were playing 1 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, potentially 2, as then once we get into the championship series, it's best 2 out of 3. But again, to reiterate, tomorrow, UT Tyler would have to force a second game with Rogers State for us to play 2 tomorrow, and then whoever North Georgia plays of these 2 teams, that team would have to win 2 against North Georgia.
Valencia leading off with Lopez on deck and Au in the hole. So Texas Tyler was up 2-0 after 6 innings. A walk and a single started that 7th. A fly out to right field put runners on the corners with 1 out. Gia Martin for the Warhawks reached on a fielder's choice. That made it 2-1. Still had 1 run over on first base there. But with their backs very much against the wall, 2 outs. And Molly Cobb at the plate, who has been battling a hand injury, hasn't played consistently lately, launched a 2-run homer to right center field and put them up 3-2. I mean, you want to talk about snatching a game from the jaws of defeat. They went up 3-2. It was pandemonium here in Denver. And then unfortunately, the Warhawks couldn't finish the game off.
Oh,
wow, it was high and tight.
Smiling.
Once he got out of the way. The first run came home in that bottom of the 7th inning. We showed you the game-winning run there, but the first run came home because of a passed ball. The runners on second and third with 2 outs, and a pass ball tied the game. Actually, I beg your pardon. There were runners on the corners with 2 outs, and that pass ball allowed the run to come home, but the ball got picked up by the catcher, flipped to the plate, and alert base running by Arias, who you mentioned. She went from first to third. And Shannon Klaus hit a ground ball to short that couldn't be handled. This is a ground ball past the second baseman. Valencia is aboard. Leadoff single in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So it just goes to show, Leah, I mean, you can have nothing going for you at all. You got 21 outs to play with, and you use them all.
All right, and a good job getting this one down. Scooted quickly to the outfield. Having that leadoff runner on now, and for the Toros, Brendan, in my mind, they have left 5 on base thus far, and if they don't want to have this one come back and bite them, they've got to start cashing in on some of these opportunities, especially with runners in both innings in scoring position.
Well, Maya Lopez delivered last time she was up. She had an RBI single that brought home Jaime from second. And she goes right through the legs of Morgan Ryan. Back-to-back singles up the middle for the Toros. This is their third straight multi-hit inning. And now they're cooking here again in the bottom of the third.
Can you guys see if there's any activity out in the
Another mound visit coming. Morgan Ryan is going to give up the ball. Time to make a pitching change. Seton Hill giving Lauren Dillette an opportunity. Well, we saw Lauren pitch in Thursday's game when Morgan Ryan went 3 innings and gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. And I thought Dillette was terrific. She did not allow a run on Thursday.
No, and with
all right, real quick. Looks like Morgan Ryan will now be the offensive player.
yes,
And the substitution is for Brooke Cleland in the 6 hole. So Cleland is out of the lineup. And the new pitcher, Lauren Dillette, is going into the 6th spot in the order.
and Dillette, has kind of her role has changed a little bit with Morgan Ryan coming to the staff this year from Notre Dame, and some players embrace it and understand it and work with it, and Dillette has. She's been one of those players, the sophomore, going from more into a reliever role for this squad. A few more pitches in the repertoire for Dillette, and a jam in here with 2 runners on and nobody out.
Needs to come up with something to keep him in it. This one is fouled off. Shanoa Au. First and second, nobody out. She'd love to come up with a big hit after it was her defensive challenge last inning that allowed that run to score. Again, they rule it a base hit.
It's gracious.
I think so too. They call her Cho. She walked her first time up. Gets down a good bunt here. That's going to move up both runners. Great execution. Good job.
One job to get that ball down and get it down on the first opportunity. Going up out of the zone, actually, Brendan, to get it because the runners had already broken on the play. So, even better job.
So, a chance for Ashley Weiss. Popped out to second last time up. Hits this one, might be playable in foul ground, and the wind blows it out of here. Just over to the top of the dugout and ricocheted back onto the field. Southern Indiana, Adelphi, and Auburn Montgomery. The first 3 teams eliminated from our national championship tournament. We played 8 games yesterday. The last 2 were elimination games. And the only 2 on the docket today, same story. AUM knocked off by UT Tyler a little bit ago, and one of these 2 teams is playing in its last game of the season. Dominguez Hills won its first, lost yesterday. Seton Hill lost their first game. They won an elimination game last night when they sent the Panthers packing. Weiss has a 2-1 count. Valencia at third, Lopez at second, 1 out. Fouled off. Lauren Dillette trying to dial it in. Up above the zone, full count. Little cue shot towards second base. Fukushima only has one play, and that's to go to first. Then they throw it away down the third base line. 2-run score. Oh my goodness. Why would you do that?
See it again here. This is a great shot of it. You'll see everything transpire, right? One run comes across. What you can't see out of your frame there is no way that Lopez is off that bag far at all if she was a half step off the bag. So not quite sure the mentality of throwing the ball over there, but awfully stinger right now is 2 runs across.
So it's 3-1. Dominguez Hills as Alex Davis bats with 2 outs and the base is empty. Those are exactly the kinds of things that have cost teams games in this tournament. Oh my gosh, they're calling her out at the plate. Well, maybe we'll have a better look at it on a replay. I don't know if she stepped out of the box when she made contact. What happened here? Just in case they go to a review, but in the meantime, let's take our own look at it. After seeing 2 looks at that, I have no idea why she was called out.
I have no idea either. It looked like a foul tip to us. It is not, and we move on.
All right, 2 runs across for the Toros. We're going to the 4th. They lead 3-1. Well, we move on to the top of the 4th inning. Still working on trying to get an explanation for you. The count there was no balls and 2 strikes on Alex Davis. The official live scorer says she struck out swinging. But the ball was, the ball was dropped by the catcher. I think we just kind of move on from the play, and it is what it is. I don't know. It was a head scratcher. Whatever the case is, we are on to the top of the 4th. Paredes, Grandy, and Zhang. Seton Hill has to try and figure out how to answer back now after giving up those 2 in the bottom of the 3rd. Obviously, one of those runs was earned, the other unearned. But both runs went on Morgan Ryan's line. Three balls and a strike to the leadoff hitter here, Grace Paredes. On the inside corner, a strike.
And let's see if these 2 runs, after we had talked about in the top of the inning, Toros having left 5 runners aboard the previous innings coming into last inning, how this may settle their defense.
Rolled to Labanog. Long throw over in time. Brings up Nina Grandy. Grandy flew out to right field in her first at bat. 0 for 1. Good pitch right on the outside corner. Brooklyn Fukushima with an RBI single on the infield in the top of this last inning. Got Seton Hill on the board. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Grandy. That RBI came with 2 outs. Two and 1. I'll be honest, it's a little odd for me to see Weiss wearing sleeves considering how temperate it is right now.
Yeah.
The temperature is 86 degrees here in Denver. There's a little tiny bit of a breeze. I mean, it's warm, but it's very comfortable.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
I mean,
and when the sun comes out, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, and at the moment, the clouds are rather prevalent, so it's making it for an easy afternoon. Long throw coming for Jaime. Not in time. Good job by Grandy to leg it out.
Long way in the hole. And really the only way that you're going to be able to get some mustard on that is to charge it, backhand it, get some fluid motion towards first base because you're falling away the way you're going. Ball in the hole. Good hustle down to first base by Grandy.
Mackenzie Zhang. 1 on, 1 out. Takes up and away. Tying run at the plate for the Griffins in the top of the 4th. By the way, Seton Hill, the visiting team, by virtue of a coin flip today. Has nothing to do with seeding at this point. In there, a strike. One and 2. Line drive sinking and in there. Davis fires into second base. Nice base hit opposite field for Mackenzie Zhang. Back-to-back 1-out singles now. There's 2 on with 1 out for the top of the order and Nicole McClendon.
Going base to base, right? And that's what the Griffins are trying to do here. And a sharply hit ball to right field. No chance at all as Grandy had to make sure that was through the hole and just getting to the bag.
We have a pinch runner over at first base. Bree Athey now running for Mackenzie Zhang. Athey pinch ran last night. There's a bunt from McClendon, and it's another good one. She is safe at first base. She beat it. Couple of infield hits, and now they're all loaded up for the most dangerous Griffin, Jenna Osikowicz.
Great job on a bunt here. Redirects it in the opposite direction as Weiss had to come over. She was the only one that could make that play. No doubt about it, even with the solid pick at first base, that they are going to utilize the review on it here. However, no doubt in my mind that she was safe on the play. Good hustle down to first base, but they're going to take a look at it anyways. You get the 2 reviews, Brendan, if you want to reiterate the review policy.
Yeah, you can't take them with you, and they don't carry over from game to game, so you might as well use them if you think it's a good chance to overturn the call. The 2 umpires that have headsets on here are not making the decision. The decision is actually coming back from somewhere in Pittsburgh. Has nothing to do with that being the hometown of Seton Hill, by the way, in nearby Pittsburgh. That's just where DV Sport, our replay system, is reviewing these.
That crew has been busy.
Yeah, they sure have.
They didn't finish up last night till about 2:30 or so, based on the games on the West Coast last night. So, a whole separate Wizard of Oz going on in Pittsburgh right now.
So each team gets 2 challenges per game. You don't get any additional ones whether or not you win your referrals. And on top of that, you don't get additional ones if you go 2 extra innings. I've already shown it to you in full speed. Here you go in a slow motion look. It's so slow she's not even running. Now she's flying. We'll get it down.
She flying?
Here's close. What do you think?
I think she's safe.
I
100%.
think so too.
100%, no doubt about it.
Runner is safe. So the call on the field is upheld, and head coach Jim Mayer calls time, and he wants to bring his whole team together in the center of the diamond. Time for the Toros to talk about it, and obviously this is a precarious spot for them, right?
Absolutely. Shoes on the other foot right now because with the bases loaded, outfield has to make sure that their outfield has been playing pretty deep and respectful. And Osikowicz has some pop in her bat, no doubt about it. She is very strong going the opposite way. And just making sure that everybody understands where they're hitting the cuts, and you got to hit the cuts here. Keep it simple. Rogers State and North Georgia both in the house. Those teams able to practice this afternoon.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what.
And as far as they're concerned, play all day, play all night, right?
Well, they did the little things right.
Yes.
Those 2 teams didn't throw the ball around.
Yep.
They, to my recollection, just off the top of my head, I don't remember any bad base running mistakes. They looked pretty darn good in their first 2 games of the tournament. That's the winning formula right now. You gotta take care of business.
Yeah, super shot from above. You can see how the infield is crawling in here. And I think I just heard Kona bark from the. That was a roaring bark by Kona. The first time that we've heard Kona. Kona's part of the CSUDH bench.
Strike to Osikowicz. Valencia, Hebreo, and Davis in the outfield. They are all straight up, and I would say medium deep. Mm-hmm. Labanog, Jaime, Au, and Hull around the diamond. They are all pulled in. Way outside. What a catch by Lopez.
The only saving grace on that one, Brendan, was I think the velocity on it would have bounced back pretty good to Lopez and would have made it difficult for a run to come across.
2-1.
Oof.
3-1. You know, that said, it was up so high it may have hit the net more than that concrete padded backstop. Sometimes it doesn't come as hard off the net, but you're right. It was certainly coming in hot. Osikowicz, fly ball to shallow center. Everybody moves up 1 base. Boy, you want to talk about a do or die, a little Texas League blooper. 3-2 on the RBI flare from Osikowicz. Considering her power and prominence, you almost take that as a win.
Yeah. The only play to be made. Getting that ball quickly in the infield.
Athey at third, McClendon at second, Osikowicz at first for Morgan Ryan. 3-2 game, top of the 4th. We've got another great elimination game on our hands. Morgan and Ryan has struck out twice. Fouls this one off.
And you hit it in the head there. Morgan Ryan has struck out twice. They've both been, each pitch that she has struck out on have been on the outside part of the plate, between waist and shoulder high. She knows it's coming.
That was fouled in and out of Lopez's glove. Seton Hill probably feeling like they're down by a run, but they shot themselves in the foot. This is a coveted chance at retribution. Can't buy the strike on the frame job. Don't blame the effort, though.
Lopez had to really bring that one back in.
Ryan fights off another one.
You know, as she's fighting off those ones on her hands, with the outfield as deep as they are, those are the little ones that'll be like Texas leaguers that could drop in and make it really difficult for this outfield.
Couple run-producing hits yesterday. Ryan likes that ball up in the zone. She wants to
sure does.
Punch it into a gap somewhere. Ryan's had a great season in the circle, but she's an equally good hitter. Full count. Only one out, so the runners won't be off with the pitch here. And Ashley Weiss right now needs to fire a strike. Strike three called.
Yowza. Low and on the inside quarter. We're going to see how just low and inside this one was. And Morgan Ryan wasn't swinging at all. She felt it was a little bit too far inside. Regardless, 2 outs now.
Morgan Toll singled to left field her last time up. Still a chance for the Griffins. It's worth repeating considering the situation. They left 8 runners in scoring position in their Thursday loss to Auburn Montgomery. They've already stranded 5 today. Popped up and out of play. It's 0-2 to the cleanup hitter Toll. 3 of those 5 have been left in scoring position. Bree Athey at third, McClendon at second, Osakowicz at first, with Alyssa Olagi starting to loosen up in the bullpen. Off the plate. There's Lala. Who knows, maybe coming in not as a starter would be better for her. Weiss trying to avoid that needing to happen quite yet. Toll hits a rocket into the corner, base hit. That not only ties but takes the lead for Seton Hill. Close play at third, but Osakowicz slides in safely. Morgan Toll, a 2-run double, and it's 4-3 Griffins.
Wow, 1-2 pitch, 2 outs. And Toll staying back on it, being very patient. And finding the line here late in the game. Ever so important 2 runs. And the Griffins back up with the lead. My goodness.
3-run outburst for Seton Hill here in the 4th inning. And while that's a called strike, while I was certainly willing to point out that they left a lot of runners in scoring position on yesterday, all 3 innings in which they scored, they put crooked numbers on the board. 3 in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. Obviously only scored 1 in the 3rd inning of this game, but they've done a good job in this tournament. These last couple games now of scoring in bunches. Fukushima, a chance to extend the lead. First base is open here. So both teams now have had a lead in this elimination game. Good pitch, good swing, tipped it into the glove. Fukushima had the RBI single last inning. And a ball she hit with a whole bunch of English on it towards second base. Full count. We have had a lot of full counts, haven't we?
Yes, we have. A lot of full counts, a lot of batters in the hole and coming up clutch. Last night and today, more so.
Fukushima, diving stab. The only chance there was to go to third base. I'll tell you what, Morgan Toll is lucky because her third base coach was screaming for her to slide. She went in standing and slowed up on the way in. But it's an RBI infield single, the 10th hit for Seton Hill.
And talk about getting to the base, getting to the next base, and a big break there.
That's ruled a single, not a fielder's choice, because Fukushima would have very, very likely beaten that out at first base had Jaime gotten up and tried to throw across. So the official scorer uses judgment there, and I think that's the right call. Another RBI for Fukushima, and it's a 5-3 game. Ninth batter of the inning is Lauren Dillette, the pitcher. Her first at bat of the game here. Fukushima at first, Toll at third, 2 outs, 4 runs across already in this busy top of the fourth. Weiss, body language now looking a little deflated. Wastes another. What do you think about that eye black?
No bedazzle on it today.
Yeah,
I don't see any bedazzle
sort of
on it. It's like fangs.
The fangs sort of pulled down. It's kind of cool. Apparently it didn't hit her in the box, but it's not handled by Labanog. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it spun in and out of her glove or what. That didn't look to be coming in too hot. Let's get another look at it.
Yeah, it seemed to be just a routine play to come across the diamond and make the play at first base. But we talk about taking your eyes off of it, and just enough with the speed of these batter base runners. And Seton Hill making it sting, a 5 spot here.
Hey, same deal there out at second base.
Yes.
Fukushima, I mean, that was darn close to being what happened yesterday in that Texas Tyler comeback win when Perez got picked off. Fukushima almost got caught napping off of second base there. I think both coaching staffs are going to have a word with their teams saying, hey, pay attention. Just because you get to the next base doesn't mean the play's over. 10th batter of the inning is Grace Paredes, who grounded off to third to lead this inning off. 5 runs on 6 hits, 4 of which are earned runs this inning. Toros better be careful not to let this get too far away from them. They could certainly score enough to get back down 3 when they're in the bottom of the 4th, but ground ball to third base. Labanog sends it across. Well, we had an awful lot of offense this inning. Asakowitz, the first one to break through. Morgan Toll had a 2-run double. Brooklyn Fukushima drove 1 home, and Lauren Dillette was able to reach on an error. Seton Hill scored 5 times in the 4th. They turned a 3-1 deficit into a 6-3 lead. right on the outskirts of downtown Denver. We're going to the bottom of the fourth inning at Metropolitan State University. Host of this year's championship. 6 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors for Seton Hill. They've stranded 5. 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, and 5 left. 4 in scoring position for the Toros. And actually, you know what? They've stranded 6 runners, have the Griffins. Left a runner at first base last half inning. This one's hit into left field, base hit. Good effort by Grandy, but she couldn't get to it. And Kaylee Hull opens up the fourth with a base hit. Good start for Dominguez Hills.
Hull going right to the non-glove side on the in the hole.
Seven base hits now for ladies from the West Coast. Here's Lobanog back at the top of the order. First chance to see Dillette. Tailor-made twin killer. She tags her and throws her out at first base. It's a 4-3 double play.
If I recall, same scenario last night against the Delphi. And a great job in holding on this time, because in the game last night they did not get the call for the DP, but good job going right at it, stepping in right at her.
What a stretch.
And a good job at first base by Toll for 2. Quickly, 2 down here.
Right back through the middle, base hit for Kiana Abalera. So the Toros will try to do it with 2. And it brings up Raquel Jaime. I think we're going to get a pinch runner here. Only 1 extra base hit so far for Dominguez Hills. They've got 7 singles and a double. And they're bringing in Janessa Hebreo to run. Hebreo on the lineup card because she's the center fielder. She's the designated player. But she is going to run here. Rocky Jaime.
Rocky has had some solid hits this week. And got to be respectful of her in the outfield. The outfield is giving her, they're about a step off the warning track right now.
Maybe they should go back a little bit further because she can hit it a long way. That time she just barely missed it on that fly ball to center field. Her second fly out to center field today. Jaime retired, and we've got 4 in the books. 6-3, Seton Hill out front after that 5-run fourth, and they'll try to add to it when we come back. Well, time for Alyssa Olagi to pitch for the 3rd time in this national championship tournament. And now she comes in not as the starter, but with the Toros trailing 6-3, and her job is pretty simple. If you're a Toro fan watching this, Alyssa, keep us in the game. That's what they're asking.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And I think for Olagi, this opportunity to come into this situation in relief may go better for her. She struggled this week. Her ERA is over 10 here at the championships. And let's see if, in a relief setting, if she feels more comfortable right now with a 3-run lead.
First batter, Nina Grandy, hits a firm ground ball that Shanoa Ao gobbles up, and that will certainly help Olagi feel like she's settled in.
Absolutely.
Couple pitches, get an out, right to work. Mackenzie Zhang will bat. Zhang singled and scored last inning. Part of that 5-run, 6-hit 4th inning. Ooh, just missed outside, but I love the pop in the glove there.
A lot more velocity.
Oh, yeah.
For the All-American and one of the aces of the staff, no doubt about it. She and Weiss.
She is clearly trying to work Zhang on the outer side of the plate. And she misses 3 in a row. They were all close misses, but it's 3 balls and no strikes. Ball 4. So a 1-out walk. Zhang is aboard. Top of the order, Nicole McClendon. Busy, productive offensive day for her. Walked in the first, was stranded at third. She singled in the third, but was gunned down trying to score from second base in that 3rd inning. And in the 4th inning, she had a bunt single and eventually came around to score on Morgan Toll's big 2-run double. Hers was the go-ahead run.
Mm-hmm.
Olagi's not missing by much. I hope it doesn't hurt her confidence because she's throwing a lot of balls here,
Right.
but she's just nibbling right on that outer half.
Oh, just taking her time a little bit here, and I like that. Taking her time, taking a breath.
This ball is hammered foul. It was hit a long way. Win or go home. North Georgia Nighthawks will play the winner of this game tomorrow at 1:30 local time. Outside, it will be 3:30 Eastern or 12:30 Pacific, depending on which team you might be rooting for here. It'll be the second game of the day, even if Rogers State loses the first game. This one is floated foul down the right side. If Rogers State, who is 2-0, loses to the 2-1 Texas Tyler Patriots, those two teams basically have a quote-unquote game off before they go back out on the field. They're not going to play back-to-back games. Outside, not by much. Ball 4. Back-to-back free passes. And again, Asakowitz batting with a couple aboard.
Right fielder number 13, Jenna Asakowicz.
Jenna has certainly made her mark on this tournament.
She has. Played solid in the outfield as well.
0-1. Yeah, I think maybe that's actually gone underappreciated because she's been clutch at the plate a few times, but she's played a really nice right field. The Toro fans are grumbling. Olagi is hitting the glove, but that glove is not over home plate. It's not right on the corner. It's in the other batter's box.
That's a pretty large corner.
Fans are funny. It's another pitch in the exact same spot.
Great having fans back. Great
Sure
being
is.
on site for sure, and passionate about their teams this weekend. It's awesome to listen to their stories as well, and have them share their stories with us.
Cloudy and breezy, but
Yeah.
no real threat of rain at the moment in Denver. Hey, look, Lopez can try to frame that all day. Olagi, somewhere along the way, is going to have to try something different. Good look at the clouds overhead. I wasn't really paying attention in my weather classes as a kid. Are those cumulus clouds?
Cumulus
Is that what
would
that
be the
is?
big puffy white ones. We don't have cumulus clouds right
Okay.
now, though.
Ground ball to first. They get one. Both runners move up. So Zhang goes to third. McClendon down to second. 2 outs now for Morgan Ryan. I know they're not cirrus clouds. Those are the thin, wispy ones. But beyond that, couldn't tell you. Coach Strong out of the dugout. She's got a smile on her face as she has a conversation with that home plate umpire. Got a pitch hitter for Morgan Ryan. Shaylee Gulvis. All right.
Number 12, Shaylee Golfus.
So Gulvis with a chance to add to the lead for the Griffins. Morgan Ryan's had a tough day at the plate with
She
3
has.
strikeouts. That's a good pitch. I believe this is her first at bat of the tournament, isn't it? I don't think Gulvis has played yet. Cuts and misses at that one, 0-2. Back-to-back 1-out walks for Alyssa Olagi. She's 1 strike away from getting out of it unscathed. Got her! 3 straight strikes, ends the at-bat quickly. And the Toros are dancing on the edge of a cliff right now. In this elimination game, they got to try to find a way to muster up some offense. They're down 3 in the middle of the 5th.
Top of the 5th inning, no runs, 6 errors. 1 run is left on base.
Bottom of 5, Claudia Valencia leading off. Boy, she had one in the go zone. Just missed it.
The go zone,
That's right.
green light zone,
Absolutely.
flashing.
Highway to the danger
highway,
zone.
yeah.
I'm excited to see that movie when it comes out. Actually, is that out in theaters yet?
It is.
Oh, there you go. See, it just goes to show how
Today, it was
up
the
on pop
27th,
culture
right?
I am.
Well, we've been
I
busy.
guess it would have been yesterday.
Yeah, we've been
Friday.
busy doing this softball thing.
All right. Top Gun's a fun movie. Oh, I haven't seen any aviators. A lot of sunglasses, although not necessarily as important to have those on today because it's really not all that bright outside. but
Started out that
Yeah,
way
it did.
today.
It did.
Thought it was going to beat down on these players, but it is really, it's actually a nice cloud cover to play ball.
Valencia, Lopez, and Owl. 2 up here in the 5th. Lauren Dillette came on in relief of Morgan Ryan.
Good discipline.
Wow, that's called a strike. Okay. Softly rolled to third. Paredes. Good throw across. Valencia retired. And down for Maya Lopez. Five teams remaining in this national championship tournament here in Division II. One of these two teams heading home in a couple of innings. Lopez had a home run on the first day of the tournament. In fact, it was the first home run of the tournament. Shot it the opposite way. That big win over Texas Tyler. Launches a ball. Good day for her today. Couple base hits. RBI single in the first. Single and scored a run in the third inning on a head-scratching error. Boy, she got a hold of that one pretty good. Hangs up in the wind, though, and it gets knocked down. Good job running it down by Alexis Bonach. 2 outs.
Now batting second base, number 11, Shinoa.
So, Shinoa Au with the bases empty and 2 gone. Seton Hill goes on to win this game. I would be a little curious to see if Lauren Dillette might be the starting pitcher tomorrow.
I think it's going to, as we get down this type of a stretch for teams that are coming out of the elimination bracket, I think the majority of the mentality is to ride the hot hand, but understand that you might only go 3 and split. You may only go 2.
Zings it right back up the middle for a base hit. Au with her first.
But I would agree with you.
I don't know how to say this nicely. I just feel like Seton Hill is succeeding right now in spite of their pitching.
Right. And she's been solid. She's come into some difficult situation. Yes, she's given up a 2-out single here. But I would agree with you. And just let her start if that's the way it goes. And all arms on deck, so to speak. Know that the leash could be very short.
Alyssa Olagi. She bats in the 7th spot in the order because she went in straight up for Ashley Weiss. First at bat for Lala, as they call her. One on, 2 out. Two no. Three balls and no strikes, and she can be really selective here.
Wow.
How about that?
That's a big break. That is a huge break. Let's see if the Toros can make it hurt.
Never saw a strike.
Wow. You keep leaving the door open, and that's what concerns me for Seton Hill. Do a good job, work hard getting back into this game. 2 outs. Back-to-back base runners here.
Well, if you're the Toros, I mean, you got to play like there's no tomorrow, because the reality is there is no tomorrow. But you also don't want to press too hard. It's still only the 5th.
Bless you.
Thank you. I think we're going to have a pinch hitter here. Caitlin Sturm coming on. Certainly seen her this tournament. Batting for Alex Davis. Strike called. Two-out single and a walk. First and second. Sturm hits one out to center field. It's dropping quickly, and it's in there. Ow, scores, and geez, oh man. Halagi took a huge round around second base and almost got picked off there. The Toros, though, happy to be on the board.
Absolutely, and playing so. She had a long way to go, right? But the runner's going. Now, I don't think to me, the throw's not home. You're up ahead here, but you have to hit the cut so the runners don't advance on. They caught a break, and they nearly picked the runner off at second base. You never throw behind the runners. You never allow the runners to move up.
Kaylee Hull. Fouls it away. Tying run is at first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. One, two, yanked foul. Sent a couple of the NCAA committee members flinching there on that rocket their way. Can Kaylee Hull come up in the clutch? She's already got a couple hits today. That one just missed up and maybe a smidge off the plate. Umpires are checking the count. The scoreboard said 3-2. It's actually 2 balls and 2 strikes. So glad we're all on the same page. This ball's hit high in the air, carrying to center. Bo Natch feels for the fence and makes the catch. Toro faithful had their hearts skip a beat. Hull flies out to the deepest part of the park, but Dominguez Hills does get on the board again. On RBI single, pinch hitter Caitlin Sturm delivered. This one almost changed the fate of this game. Well, the Hillcats have seen enough. They were watching intently. Now it's okay. We're not playing either one of these two teams.
Time to grab dinner.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. By the way, we just found out in the inning break there, that is the first ever plate appearance for Alyssa Olagi. She walked out 4 pitches. Don't you love when Lady Luck's on your side?
Yeah, never was not in any of their batting stats ever that they have on their web.
I'm sure she's hit sometime in her youth. It's not like she's never grabbed a bat,
No.
but her job's to pitch for the Toros. She's got to try to keep it here. They got to run closer last inning. That 5-run 4th inning looming pretty large at the moment. Seton Hill, 6 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. They've stranded a small village over the first 5 innings. What was that, 8 runners left on base in 5 innings? Could be a heck of a lot worse. 4 runs, 10 hits, an error. I guess the Toros have done the same thing. They've left 8 on board. So this game is 6-4 and could be a whole lot more offensive. Just feels like Seton Hill has given away a few more opportunities because they scored so many of those runs in the 4th inning. A little half-hearted swing from Morgan Toll. That's down for a foul ball. Last time up, Toll had the big delivery. It was her 2-run double that gave the Griffins the lead. Jenna Osakowicz singled home the tying run. Actually, I beg your pardon. Singled home a run to make it 3-2. And then it was 4-3 after the 2 runs came home on Morgan Toll on that 2-bagger down in the left field corner. Kind of like all the ribbon in the back of Morgan's hair.
She got a lot going on back there.
Yeah, it's that looks like it took a while.
And a flower, too.
Well, whatever it takes. You go up and hit 2-run doubles. You can wear whatever you want. Fouls that one away. Big deep breath there for Lala. She goes down into the, it's not really the dirt here, it's the turf, but that rosin bag is actually dirt from a local field here in Denver that helps the pitchers get a little better grip on the ball because they don't play on artificial turf surfaces at home. Toll's 2 for 3. What a pitch.
Wow.
Boy, did she pull the string on that one for a big strikeout.
Sets it up on the outside corner. Nicely done. She's thrown a lot of pitches since coming in relief.
Yeah, she sure has. She's seen a bunch of full counts already. Only faced 6 batters. That one caught the corner for a strike. Brooklyn Fukushima 2 for 3 today with a pair of infield singles and an RBI on each of them. Last time it was a ball hit in the hole between short and third that Jaime made a good diving play at. Nothing in 2, and all of a sudden, Olagi's got that swag. I think that was intentionally thrown out there. We have seen the states of California and Texas at the last couple of Division II College World Series send some teams here that have performed very, very well. Fukushima down on strikes. It's 3 in a row now for Olagi. And the Toros are trying to keep this run alive. Just blew it by her. Straight gas. Lauren Dillette, the pitcher. Outside. Top of the 6th inning. Seton Hill trailed 1-0 after the Toros scored in the first. This one's fouled away. First inning RBI came from Maya Lopez with a couple outs. Griffins tied the game in the third inning. Fukushima an RBI single. Dominguez Hills 2 in the bottom of the third. Just outside. Ashley Weiss hit a ground ball to second base to score a run from third. Fukushima threw out the runner at first, and then Morgan Toll immediately threw to third base, where Lopez, who was on second, was advancing on that play, and Toll threw it past the third baseman Paredes down the line. And that allowed Lopez to score on the error, and it gave up the lead, so then it became a 3-1 ball game. But a big top of the fourth put the Griffins back out front. He scored 5 runs, 4 earned on 6 hits, 1 error in that fourth inning. Grandy, Zhang, McClendon, Asikowitz, Toll, and Fukushima all base hits that inning. Asikowitz, Toll, Fukushima all had run-producing hits. Dominguez Hills got 1 back in the bottom of the 5th. Caitlin Sturm, the pinch hit RBI single. That brings us to 6-4. Right back through the middle, and it almost took Olagi with her. Another very solidly hit base hit. Haven't had a lot of cheap hits today.
No, they haven't. And we've seen some go right back through the box. This one with a lot of velocity on it. And nice job by just kind of staying back on it and ripping it right back through the box. Off the plate a little bit.
1 on, 2 out for Miss Paredes.
It was a pretty good battle, too.
Yeah, sure was. Toros need to get out of the inning here and get the bats going again. They've got 6 outs left to play with offensively. This one hit to right field. A little bit of trouble and a good job hanging tough. Alex Davis makes the catch. Well, the shortest route from one point to the next is a straight line. She certainly didn't take the shortest route, but adjusted with the wind and made it happen. And so we're going to the bottom of the 6th. Griffins lead at 6-4.
Welcome back to Denver, where we move to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Toros looking to get some juju here with their friend Kona in the dugout. Kona
time for a little penance.
Yeah. Kona is a female rescue dog. She is a mutt, and love my doggies myself. So
me too.
Love the fact that I have never, ever in all the years playing, coaching, umpiring, being around the sport, broadcasting, ever see a team have a dog with them. And in a service dog situation, I think it's awesome. She is extremely disciplined and behaves herself so great in the dugout. And it was bloody hot here yesterday. And let's see if she can spur this team on.
Yeah, she just might have. That's a base hit into the left field corner, and it's backed up really, really well. Amara Labanog opens up the bottom of the 6th inning with a double to left, but don't sleep on the play by Asikowitz, backing that up.
Yeah, good job, as you said, backing that up. And what I love is just before the pitch is thrown, Labanog shortens, slides her hands up on the swing, gets a little bit more control on the swing, and punches that ball down the left field line. Really solid textbook on the contact.
Janessa Hebreo pinch ran for Kiana Abalera in this spot in the bottom of the 4th inning. She was listed 10th on the lineup card. Instead, Abalera is back in as the DP. We also have a new runner. That is Haley Garcia now running for the Toros back out at second. So it's Abalera at the plate. First pitch in there, a strike. Lauren Dillette outside.
Time on the field, and now Seton Hill wants to talk about it. The 1-1 count.
Morgan Ryan was in the bullpen, and she's just emerged from the bullpen, but it's not because she was summoned to pitch right now. It was more just a, hey, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Toros have the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the sixth. The Griffins are settled down. The Toros are fired up. Kiana Abalera 1 for 3. Rolls that one. It hit her in the box. Foul ball. Lauren Dillette almost fell down.
She has been beat up
Ain't that the truth?
even further than she was feeling when she first got here.
Tough luck sometimes, I guess.
And isn't everybody just a little bit dinged this time of the year?
Say nobody is at full strength right now. Toros rocking and rolling in the third base dugout. Got a critical run at second base with nobody out after the leadoff double. Chased a high heater. Good rise pitch. One out.
Some good help right there, and no question about it. As it climbed, Lauren Dillette pumped that she got her to chase it out of the zone.
Raquel Jaime doubled and scored in the first. Couple flyouts since then. She's got the kind of power in her bat to tie this game with one swing. And we certainly learned last game that even when there's two outs in the final hope, it's not hopeless. That's a little fister down the right side. Base hit. Osakowicz gets it into the cutoff. Labanag goes second to third. Runners on the corners now for Claudia Valencia.
That's a good slicer, and fighting it off down the right field line. Got out there quickly. Great job by Osakowicz to get that ball back into the infield.
Valencia in the cleanup spot today. Can she deliver? Tying run at first, go-ahead run at the plate for Cal State Dominguez Hills. Check swing. They will ask on an appeal. She didn't go. This team got through Chico State, Concordia, and Cal State San Marcos in the regionals and super regionals. They have been well tested, especially with the Eagles and with CSU San Marcos. Those two teams were really good. Boy, that was absolutely rocked foul. Oh
That's a good dance. That's a great dance.
That's a foul ball.
By Garcia at third base. She stopped, dropped, and rolled, and then continued on.
I'm not sure what Coach Strong wants here. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious it was a foul ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
the
doubt
ball
about it.
By several feet.
And that's a good job by the dancing Haley Garcia at third base to get down. That's why you want to be in that foul territory.
2 balls, 2 strikes. On the ground, off the pitcher's glove. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes you're better off letting those go if you can't get to them. 6-5.
And Gillette, you saw she wasn't kind of square to the circle as well, kind of falling away. And because of that, just tipping, everybody's kind of moving to their bag. Cal State DH making it hurt.
That's it for Lauren Dillette. She pitched just fine in relief. No reason to hang her head. She, in fact, even got a smile on her face as she comes off. And Morgan Ryan re-enters as the pitcher. Ryan's line so far, 2 innings, 3 runs on 6 hits. 2 of those runs were earned. 2 walks, 1 strikeout, and 1 wild pitch. And now it's 6-5 in the bottom of the 6th inning, with runners at first and second and 1 out.
And Morgan Ryan coming in. Would love to be able to finish this off. Struggled at the plate offensively today, but nothing more satisfying for this graduate student than to be able to finish this game off and help her team continue on this week. 1.19 ERA on the season, and has been exceptional in the circle all year. But right now, with 1 out, 2 runners on, she's looking to set the defense behind her.
Lauren Dillette will stay in the game offensively in the 6th hole. Just missed inside as Maya Lopez takes ball 1. Two and 0. Already 1 home. Lopez with a 2-0 count. Ryan struggling to find home plate since she's re-entered. Tying run at second. Go ahead, run at first. Not even close. Shanoa Au will bat with the bases loaded for the Toros. And a team that was down 6-3 feels really good about its current position.
Taking a look at this outfield here. With 1 out, Shanoa making good contact last time up. Brendan, if you recall, she went right back through the middle, a solid base hit. And they'll make some changes again here before she steps back in the box.
Not sure if it's for a pinch runner somewhere. I believe so. All right, the pinch run at first base for Lopez. New runner is Sydney Diaz. Diaz has run a few times already this week.
Yes. Again.
Jaime at third, Valencia at second, Diaz at first. And Morgan Ryan's thrown 5 straight balls since she re-entered.
Yeah, 5 straight balls, and also this this outfield is extremely shallow. These runners need to understand where these outfielders are and make sure they get to the next bag.
Nobody's catching this one. It's going over her head. McClendon couldn't get to it. Extra bases for Au. They're going to try to score 3, and they do. Jaime, Valencia, Diaz all come home. A bases clearing double, the biggest hit of the tournament for Shanoa Au.
Seton Hill so shallow on this play. And Au just going the opposite way with it. Right over McClendon's head. No doubt about it. The arm is waving by Jared Mayer at third base. Clears them all. I think Kona had something to do with this as well. Everybody went over and patted Kona.
Looks like there was some kind of warning issued to the third base dugout from home plate umpire Trina Comerford. Not sure for what or to whom. But it's now 8-6, Dominguez Hills.
And now we have a warning to the first base side.
Some unhappy folks. Shanoa Au hasn't necessarily been a big hitter all year. She comes up with a huge double.
As a player, you look at the outfield, you see that they're playing in very shallow on you. Understand it. They wanted to take away the base hit and the slap, and she just got her pitch and scorched them.
4 so far in the 6th for the Toros. And as the home team, Seton Hill's got to answer in the top of the 7th or the game would be over. 3 balls and a strike. Morgan Ryan has had a tough day. Olagi takes a strike. Again, this is her second career collegiate at bat. She walked on 4 pitches in the last one.
She's still 0 for 0.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan has got to challenge her here. And she does and gets her. Two outs now, both via the strikeout. One from Dillette earlier this inning, and now one for Ryan. Alex Davis, the hitter. Strike called. Davis 0 for 2 on the day. Shanoa Au only had 11 RBIs in the first 62 games this year. Chopper to short. Grandy's got to hurry. She didn't get her. And the run comes home. Au just didn't slow up. And the Toros add another.
Eighth batter this inning, and the Toros really making it high chopper. Going to be really difficult, right, to make that play at first base. And the speed with 2 outs coming across. Talk about speed. She was already across home plate by the time that throw was made.
Chloe Elliott, the new pitcher, was in the lineup where Dillette was. Why don't you tell us a little bit about freshman Chloe Elliott?
Well, Chloe Elliott with that 1.31 ERA on the year. 1-1 on the season coming into this championship series. This is going to be her 8th appearance. She made 2 starts in the regular season. And this will be her 18th inning pitch, completing her 18th inning pitch. Second team PSAC on the season. With a rise, a change, a drop, and a curve, and some work to be done.
That one catches the black for a strike. Home plate umpire Trina Comerford, when she made the signal to the official scorer up here, I could have sworn she yelled that the new pitcher was coming in the lineup in place of number 21, Dillette, but the official scorer has put her in straight up for Ryan in the 3-hole. We'll see. In the meantime, It's 0-2 to the ninth batter of the inning, Kaylee Hull. High fly to right field, carrying a little bit. Osakowicz squeezes it. The Seton Hill Griffins have their work cut out for them. They had a 5-run inning of their own in the 4th inning, and they just gave up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 6th. Now they've got to score 3 runs before committing 3 outs, or else their season is over. Right back after this on NCAA.com. Seton Hill Griffins have their tournament hopes on the line. They won an elimination game yesterday after losing on day 1. Cal State Dominguez Hills won their first game. They lost yesterday. Going to get down to our final 4 teams very shortly. In game 1 today, we went into the 7th inning with Texas Tyler leading 2-0. Auburn Montgomery scored 3 runs to take a 3-2 lead, and then the Patriots answered with 2 of their own in the bottom of the 7th and walked it off. So just because the score is 9-6 right now doesn't mean that there is guaranteed to be no drama here in the 7th inning. Let's play it all out and see what happens. The batter is Nina Grandy. She's scheduled to be followed by Mackenzie Zhang and Nicole McClendon. Good pitch from Olagi. Two and one. Well, if Olagi doesn't find the strike zone, this could get interesting. Grandy singled and scored in the 4th inning. She's 1 for 3. Ball 4. Seton Hill, they need base runners, and they get the lead off on a walk.
I give them a ton of credit for their discipline at the plate right now, because that one did not miss by much. And getting that leadoff runner aboard here.
Outside to Zhang. 1-1. This ball is hit out to left field. Valencia charges in and makes the catch. 1 out. Nicole McClendon. Tying run is in the on-deck circle for the Griffins. Upstairs. McClendon's been on base all 4 times. Couple hits, couple walks. Watches a good pitch. I don't know where that one missed.
Little low.
I guess it missed inside. Getting tense.
Oh.
Wow. Walks her on 4 pitches. Minalagi looks over as if to say, I have no idea where else to throw it. Seton Hill brings the tying run to the plate with 1 out in the 7th. The batter is their superstar outfielder, Jenna Osakowicz. We've got it brewing again here in Denver.
Yep. You know, and the good thing for Osakowicz right now, and she knows it, with Lagi struggling to find the plate, she's going to eventually get something pretty good to hit.
Yeah, maybe
now
too
whether
good.
she, you know, and whether or not she gets the green light, I would think that she would be the difference. Now, for the runners that are out there, they are giving a ton of respect, obviously, to the bat of Osakowicz. And so those runners for Seton Hill need to understand that they may be able to leg an extra base on this.
Well, everybody's trying to get on the same page, offensively, defensively. Get themselves all lined up properly. Right mentality. Big pitch coming. Good pitch in there for a strike. Looked like Osakowicz might have just been taken all the way there. 6 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors, and so far, 9 left on base for the Griffins. Osakowicz with a deep drive to right. Davis is back and makes the catch. Grandy goes back to tag. They mishandle the cut, and both runners get a chance to move up. But now there's 2 outs. And the batter will be Morgan Ryan. One out left for the Griffins to play with. Ryan has struck out 3 times today. She could erase all of that frustration and more with a base hit here.
You got that. And I would imagine they would continue to keep that pitch away from her where they've had success.
Outfield is, I think, wisely playing deep.
Yep.
The 2 runners on base are meaningless for them right now. Can't let the ball behind you. Ryan slashes it foul, and she's down in the count 0-2. Cal State Dominguez Hills 1 strike away from surviving this elimination game and punching a ticket to tomorrow against North Georgia at 1:30 local time. Outside, 1 and 2.
Making sure you're pinching the corners here in the infield. Don't want anything getting by you into the corners.
Ryan, a hot shot foul. This time she pulled it.
Lala taking something off of that pitch, and unfortunately for Ryan, not able to hold back on it. Kind of surprised that the corners aren't pinching the line just a little bit more.
Outside, but not by much. That's a tough take. Wow. 2 and 2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The Toros with a comeback win they'll never forget. Down 6-4. They score 5 in the 6th inning. And they win it 9-6. They are one of the final 4 remaining teams in the Division II Softball National Championship Tournament.
Pretty gutsy, impressive full team comeback by the Toros, posting that 5 in the 6th. Good season for Seton Hill out of the PSAC. Solid year for them as the teams meet at home plate. 9-6. The Toros move on now to face North Georgia.
I'll tell you what, there was some serious clutch hitting and some tough circumstances in this game. Both teams had big innings, but by the end of it, Cal State Dominguez Hills, when having scored in 4 of the 6 offensive innings that they batted, ended up being enough for them to come away with a victory. Final line score includes 6 runs on 11 hits with 2 errors, 11 runners left on base for the Griffins. Cal State Dominguez Hills, 9 runs, 15 hits, 2 errors, and 9 runners left on base. Alyssa Olagi, the winning pitcher in relief of Ashley Weiss. Lauren Dillette takes the loss for the Griffins. No save. Time of the game was 2 hours and 30 minutes. So the Griffins are going home, and there are 4 teams left. Cal State Dominguez Hills will play North Georgia in Game 2 tomorrow. That's after Rogers State plays the number 1 team in the country, Texas Tyler. The Nighthawks have an advantage. The Hillcats have an advantage. They're 2-0 heading into tomorrow. We'll have live streaming coverage coming up at 11 a.m. on NCAA.com.